Alright, what's going on, people? Ring Road Map here, and today we're going to talk about Demetrius Andrade versus David Benavidez. To me, a perfect matchup. You know, you got two guys who are, I wouldn't say being ducked, because I'm not really sure what's going on behind the negotiations and stuff, but these are two dudes that have relatively been dodged by a lot of the top guys, and so this is going to be a pretty good matchup. Let's get right into the shit. The first one we're going to see with Andrade is because he has that loose guard. He has a tendency to drop his guard when his opponent changes levels on him. So right here you're gonna see his opponent throw an overhand. Alright, and an overhand, for some of you who might not have seen this punch or who might have not been hit by this punch, the overhand kind of looks like a right hand to the body when it is on its way or on its way. So that's the reason why right here you're gonna see Andrade kind of drop his guard to his stomach, because he thought that it was gonna be a right hand to the body. And that's the tendency, especially for guys who have the loose guard a lot, right? If you're not really that tight with your guard, you have the tendency to put your hands in positions where you think the punch is gonna come. So if you think this is gonna come to the stomach, you're gonna drop your hand on that particular spot. So that's exactly what we see with Andrade. Again, here you're gonna see that same thing. So his opponent is going to try to land that right hand to the head, and because he thought that it was going to be to the body, again, he tried to parry it down to the body, and then he got hit right there up top. Okay, you cannot afford to do this against Benavidez, because again, Benavidez has that solid lead right hand, and he just shoots it. You know, 1 second he's standing right in front of you, and then the next second he already landed that fucking stiff right hand, or that lead right hand that he has. It's very deceptive. He doesn't really load up on it, and he throws it usually from the high guard position. So Andrade has to be really careful about that shot, you know. Okay, now we're gonna look at the lead right and how it's very much hittable with the lead right, kind of related to what we talked about a while ago. But a while ago it was mostly, or it was more on changing levels, right? You saw his opponent change the levels on him, and when that happened, he had a tendency to drop his guard, to pull back, or to lean back too much, and then that's the reason why he got hit right there. This one, for this particular one, you're gonna see him get caught with the lead rights in between his combination. So right here you're gonna see him throw that left hand to the body, duck down. He's gonna try to land that right hook, and because he doesn't have that left guard up, he has the tendency to again get hit with that right hook on the chin, and this cannot be the same if you face a guy like Benavidez. Right here you're gonna see that exact same thing. Okay, so his opponent is gonna start by leaning more to his right side, and then he faked, or he threw a lead right hand right there. It kind of looked like, you know, it grazed him. Didn't really hit him clean, but it grazed him a little bit. And then here you're gonna see that same thing again, because he has a tendency to lean back too much, to blade too much on that stance. You're not Bud Crawford. You know, no offense to all of you Demetrius Andrade fans, you might have seen Crawford do this shit and get away with it. Andrade is far from fucking Bud Crawford. Let's get that shit straight. Skill-wise, they're far from each other. Yes, they do have the same moves, but they're far from each other. You can't get away, or not everybody can get away with this bladed possession. Not everybody can get away with leaning back too much. Only guys like Pernell Whitaker gets away with that shit. You know, and I think if he does this, or if Demetrius Andrade does this against David Benavidez, he's gonna get messed up really bad, you know, because the Benavidez has that reach, and Benavidez has the speed to really catch Andrade off guard. You know, against slower opponents, of course he's gonna be able to look good. But Benavidez has that flashing speed, you know. It doesn't even look like he belongs to the fucking, what's their division? Super middleweight? He doesn't even look like a super middleweight, right? He doesn't even move like a super middleweight. So it's really interesting to see how Andrade will deal with that speed. You know, I do admit that he has a lot of skill. He has great movement, great footwork. You know, I'm not gonna take that away from him. But how is he gonna deal with that speed? How is he gonna deal with those lead right hands? How is he gonna deal with those fast punches, or with those deceptive punches that Benavidez throws? That's gonna be interesting, you know. Alright, next thing we're gonna look at is gonna be that flicker jab. What we see with Andrade most of the time is that he likes to throw his flicker jab and then pull back right away. He does it on the back foot. He leans back while he throws that back foot flicker jab. So again, a dangerous move right here. Because number one, you're taking away your opportunity to really follow up with anything, and number two, once you get caught in that bladed position, so you really cannot get out. Your only way out is to move away or to smother, which again follows up with what I argued a while ago, where I said that it's hard to follow up when you're on the back foot too much. Only thing you can really throw there is gonna be that weak ass right hook and that loaded up left hand, you know. So let's see some more examples right here. He's gonna throw that same flicker jab, and then he's gonna lean back. As you can see, as a result of that back foot flicker jab, when his opponent caught him with that counter jab as well, he wasn't able to counter in return. So he threw that jab, he got countered with a jab from his orthodox opponent, and he couldn't counter in return with that check hook. Why? Because it was too far out. He was leaning too far back. He could not throw that check hook no more, you know. Let's see another one right here. So he's gonna throw that flicker jab again, and look how he turns his back right here. I hate when people try to look like Pernell Whitaker, and obviously they're not Pernell Whitaker, right? They get hit. You know, if you're not getting hit while doing this shit, fair enough. But if you keep getting hit, maybe it's time to stop doing the fucking move, right? And Andrade has been hit so many times when he does this shit where he tries to look like Pernell Whitaker, and that's what happens, man. That's what happens, especially when you fight these guys who are a little bit slower. You are gonna get away with some stuff, but against Benavidez, you can't afford to do this shit, you know. We're gonna see that stance switch as well. He likes to switch his stances in between the punch, most especially on the left hand. So you're gonna see him throw that left hand, bring his back leg in, and then he has to reset. Okay, if you guys watch Benavidez is really good at catching you or staying planted and not stepping back. Right now, this squaring up shit, it works if your opponent doesn't, or if your opponent steps back, because you can follow them, you can chase them around. But for a guy who stays planted like Benavidez, he's not gonna step back. He's gonna stay there, and once you try to throw, or once you square up, you're an easy target. You know, he's gonna be able to counter you with those short rights that he has. He also has that sneaky check hook, left hook, and he also has those uppercuts, obviously. So this can be timed, guys. Every time you square up like this, you throw that left hand, you square up. If your opponent steps back, then fine, they're not gonna be able to counter you. But if your opponent stays planted, like Benavidez likes to do, then they're gonna be able to counter you from that position. And if you look at this, if you look at another example right here, you're gonna see that same thing. Okay, he's gonna throw that, he's gonna be off balance, he's gonna lean overly on that front leg, and what happens? You really can't recover from this. What the fuck can you do? You're gonna pivot. All you can do here is pivot away, right? But Benavidez, before he can even do that, is going to be able to chase you around. Okay, so again, Andrade can win this fight if he just stops doing these silly, flashy moves. Right? If he keeps it simple, right? If he doesn't try too hard to look flashy or to do unnecessary movements, this is going to be able to probably pull the upset off. You know, because he has the skill, he has great footwork. But again, that takes discipline in order to not be as flashy. Now we're going to talk about punch and dips or punch and ducks, which you're going to see with Andrade. Is once he catches you or once he comes forward, he has a tendency to come with his head first, which is what you're going to see here. Head first right here. He's going to duck down really low, below the waist. This is actually illegal, guys. I don't know why he hasn't been called out for it. He's going to duck down really low on the waist. And what does that do? It hampers your vision, and number two, you're not really getting a lot of power on your shots if your head is always coming in first. So you gotta be really careful on doing this, because Benavidez is good at countering people when they are going down low like that. When their head is low like that, if you don't believe me, go ahead and watch the fight with Jay Leon Love. Go ahead and watch the fight against Caleb Plant. Whenever their head is down there, whenever their head is down on his waist, he's able to sneak in some shots in there, which they cannot really see coming, okay? Let's see another example of that punch and dip. He's gonna, again, try to do that left hand. Or no, I think that's a different punch right there. He's gonna try to do that left hand, he's gonna try to duck down, and again, when you're down in this position right here, it's hard to see the shots from above. It's hard to see the shots that your opponent's trying to throw from above. So you have a tendency to get countered. As you can see there, his opponent kind of countered him with a left hook counter, but he simply did not land it clean enough to really do any damage, you know. So let's see another one of that. Okay, again, left hand is gonna duck down, he's gonna bend at the waist. On the back foot, there he got away with it because his opponent is tired. And he can't really do shit. Okay, right hand or left hook to the body, right hook to the body, and then right hook to the head. And then as you can see there, I think he got countered with like a short right. Boom, he got countered right there with a short right. Luckily, the opponent, although he had power, I think at this point he was a little bit tired. And also, he was hurt at the early round, so it didn't really have that pop. Okay, I'm not trying to say that his opponent was a bum or something like that, because as the commentator said, the guy was pretty good. He had pretty good credentials, so I don't want to take anything away from him. So the last thing I'm going to talk about is going to be that blind pivot. Every time he pivots away, as you can see here, you can time him on the pivot, because every time you pivot away and try to change the angle, you're really blind. Okay, and as you can see here, the problem with Andrade is that he turns his back completely. Whenever you pivot, you can pivot away, but you gotta make sure that you can still see what's in front of you. With Andrade, he likes to turn his back all the way, and what happens is he can't really see anything once he pivots out. So as you can see here, he got caught with that lead right hand by his opponent. Let's see another example here. He's gonna try to again jab, and then pivot away, turn his back. You can really see that check hook coming. Luckily, his opponent overshot it, you know, and only the forearm was able to land, not really the punch. So let's see what happens here. He's gonna try to pivot away. Good kind of head turn right there. He was able to turn his head and then dodge that punch. He was able to roll with the punch. But again, with a guy like Benavidez, he knows how to use your footwork against you. So you gotta be careful. You gotta give him multiple looks. You cannot just go in one direction. You cannot just circle in one direction. And so let's get right into my prediction for this one. In my opinion, Andrade will put up a better fight than Caleb Plant. Okay, don't get me wrong. Caleb Plant put up a hell of a fight. We didn't expect him to brawl like that. We didn't expect him to go toe to toe like that. But he put up a hell of a fight. I just think that Andrade has more power, more pop on his punches, and he's got better stamina. I'm not going to take that away from him. You know, Caleb Plant has stamina issues, especially in the 10th to 12th round. If it's not going his way, he's going to get tired. If he doesn't set the pace, he's going to get tired. And Benavidez did not let him set that pace, so Caleb Plant got tired. So for this fight, look, if, again, Andrade keeps it simple, if Andrade keeps his game well, if Andrade plays it safe, I'm not saying fight scared. There's a big difference between being cautious and fighting scared, right? You can still get your combinations off. You can still score points. You can still score combinations without fighting scared, okay? There's a difference. If he becomes cautious enough, look guys, I think this can be a draw in the end. If Andrade puts up the perfect fight, this might be a draw in the end. But, and I rarely make draw predictions, but for this one, I'm gonna make a draw prediction. But if he fights stupid, if he fights silly, if he does these flashy moves, he's gonna pay for it. And I think Benavidez will be able to win via decision on this one if he fights dumb. Alright, if he fights silly, if he tries to look too pretty, Benavidez will be able to take advantage of his rhythm and read him in the late round. So that was it. That's my prediction for this fight. I'm going with a draw if Andrade plays it smart. If he brawls or if he does stupid things like what I highlighted in this video, he's gonna lose via decision. Okay, so that was it. Or via late stoppage, but I think it's more of a decision because he has pretty good survival instincts, you know. But I'm going with those two, draw or decision. So that was it. I'll see you guys soon. Subscribe if you're new. Join my Patreon if you want to. Peace out.